Happy Halloween. Hi there, Maria here. Today I am going to share with you different fragrances that villains would wear, and I'm so excited. But before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button, join the Weird Wonderful family, and without further ado, let's get into this. To be honest, villains are some of my favorite characters in some of the over-the-top movies. So thinking about Disney, but also other characters throughout time in the movie world, I have really enjoyed. So I'm going to share with you some of my favorites. So the first villain that I want to talk about is Catwoman from Batman. Now, the first Catwoman that I ever saw was Michelle Pfeiffer. And I remember, well, first of all, I hate Batman. So I hate that series of movies. It's so dark and it's so scary. I've not watched any of them beyond, I think I watched one with, oh, what's his name? He's kind of a jerk in real life, I heard. I kind of like him, but anyway, I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was the first Batman. Yes, Michael Keaton. So that's, I think, the only Batman movies that I've watched because I just hated them, like the Penguin and everything. It was just too scary for me and too gross. But what horrified me was when Catwoman, this mousy little chick, gets killed, and then what happens? A bunch of creepy cats come and bite her back to life. Like, what kind of hellish thing is that? Like, it's so horrible. Like, just, you know, as the cats are biting her, like, I couldn't handle it. It was horrible. But she was hilarious. So, like, I don't know about you, kitty, but I feel yummy. Like it was just really well done. And her outfit creeped me out, everything about her. Okay, so what fragrance would she wear? Well, the first time I smelled this fragrance, all I could think of was Catwoman, and it is Lulu by Cruella. Now, for those of you that know, I don't wear this. I won't get rid of it, though, because it's so horrible to me that it's worth keeping. This is nasty. It's literally, it makes me gag. So it smells like death to me. So it suits Catwoman. But the reason why I chose it is because it has this kind of synthetic-y, gas smelling pleather feel, which totally reminded me of Catwoman's suit. So the first little whiff, like if you smell it on the air, and I know some people love this fragrance. Back in the 90s, this was the thing. Now, if you smell it now, I don't think you'll agree that it's the best thing in the world. But on the air, it smells kind of good, kind of sexy. But then as you get a huge whiff, you just want to gag because it smells like death. This is 100% Catwoman. The next villain I want to talk about is none other than one of the greatest villains of all time, Dr. Evil. Like, I loved Dr. Evil. How could you not kind of love him? Like, I kind of felt sorry for him. He was a little bit, I don't know, just discombobulated. But anyway, Dr. Evil from the Austin Power movies, to me, he was just like so awesome. And some of his lines, like, I had a typical childhood, summers in Rangoon, luge lessons. In the spring, we would make meat helmets. Like, who says things like that? It was so nuts. So I loved the movie. But the fragrance that he would absolutely wear is Ganymede. I don't know if you've smelled Ganymede, but it is literally otherworldly. So being he was shot off in space or whatever, came back, was cryogenically frozen, or however it worked, to me, Ganymede is perfect for him. So Ganymede smells like an orange brand new tennis shoe. That's the only way to describe it. There's some sort of orange element to it, but it's just kind of like in the air. It's very synthetic. It's very ether-esque. Like, it smells space-like. So Ganymede is perfect. To me, Ganymede smells like some sort of science fiction movie where you're in a brand new spacecraft with orange upholstered seats and metal everywhere, and then somehow you get a whiff of space in the midst of it. That is Ganymede. It's the weirdest fragrance ever. If you haven't ever smelt it, you should try find a sample just so you can experience the bizarreness of it. That said, lots of people find it uber sexy. It's so different, but it is kind of like there's a sexy aspect to it. The other thing I think of when I think of Ganymede is like some sort of robotic stewardess wearing some sort of plastic cone-like skirt. I don't know why, but it just gives me all sorts of images. But Dr. Evil would definitely smell like an orange brand new tennis shoe. Like he just would. He'd smell a little weird. So anyway, for that reason, Dr. Evil, his fragrance is Ganymede. The next villain I want to talk about is a Disney villain, and it would be Maleficent. Now, interestingly, back when I was in grade 8, so I don't know, probably 1983, somewhere, 1982 and 1983, we had an assignment in LA, and it was to write a story about someone that got a bad rap and you were telling their side of the story. So I actually picked Maleficent, and I wrote this whole entire thing about how what she had done was taken out of context, and this is all that happened, and blah, 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 blah. Just wrote a huge sob story on Maleficent's behalf. For some reason, I always liked Maleficent. I don't know if it was the horns or the green face of the cartoon, but I kind of liked her. So anyway, when they came out with the current Maleficent movie with Angelina Jolie, I was actually really thrilled because I'm like, yes, somehow I knew it. A story should be told about Maleficent. So I kind of like her character. I love the way they portrayed her and how she was bitter and wounded and just that feel, but she had a class to her somehow. And although she had gotten dark, her heart was warmed by Beastie. I think that's what she called the little girl. I think that's what she called Aurora. Didn't she call her Beastie? Something like that. Anyway, so the fragrance I chose for her is by Simone Andreoli, and it is called Weissbaum. Now that fragrance is so gorgeous. It's a bit gothic. Even the bottle is gothic. So it kind of suits her, but it is one of the most decadent, delicious cherry fragrances I've ever smelled, but it's deep, dark, and sexy. It's got some caramel in there, red fruits and vanilla. There's some amber and woodiness. This is super dark, decadent, sexy, delicious, but powerful. So for me, even though she's kind of a baddie, I thought this fragrance was perfect for her because it's actually quite beautiful at the same time. So Maleficent, you get the nicest fragrance for sure out of the whole bunch because somehow I love you. Now, the next villain I have for you is Snow White's stepmother, Queen Ravina from Snow White and the Huntsman. So it's Charlize Theron. She's seriously, let's face it, she's the most beautiful woman on the whole entire planet. Like, she is gorgeous. In all of her j'adore commercials, she's beautiful in that. She's beautiful in everything. Like, I don't even know how someone could look so beautiful on the planet. But anyway, Queen Ravina, she's so beautiful, so stoic, and so freaking creepy. Like, she is creepy. She sucks the life. Literally, she sucks the life out of her hosts. Like, it's just gross. So I was thinking, okay, what fragrance is going to represent her? All this beauty and yet this horribleness. So I don't know if this fits, but it was what I thought of, and it is Delina by Perfumes de Marly. I Have First Kissed by Be Layered. The reason why I chose this is because on first sniff, it smells elegant and opulent and royal and feminine, powerful, like powerful femininity. There's a sexuality involved in Delina, which it's just gorgeous. That said, some people, I think it's from the rhubarb, could be the lychee, but likely it's the rhubarb. All they get is kind of armpit BO. Like, I don't get that. Although I do get that, like I get a celery aspect to the rhubarb. So, and I noticed it in the actual Delina as well. But anyway, I thought it was perfect because on first sniff, it smells amazing. But if you look at it at a different angle, it smells absolutely stenchy. And that's what I find. Delina is very, very polarizing. People either love it or they hate it. Some are drawn into the beauty and some are absolutely repulsed. So I thought it was perfect for Queen Ravina. One I've talked about in the past and I will talk about it again. Cruella de Vil, like all I think of when and I don't think she ever said it, but
where's the puppies, darling?
With that huge cigarette. Did she even have a cigarette? With the hair from the cartoon, she was absolutely hideous, and yet there was something about her that was so dramatic and fantastic. So the fragrance that I would choose for her is Haute Couture Eau de Parfum by Givenchy. This is beautiful, actually. So it really doesn't suit her, but it's got a cigarette vibe in there. And whenever I smell it, all I can think of is Cruella. Don't know why, but this is her. Probably my favorite Disney movie of all times was Beauty and the Beast. We got that movie. It came out kind of when I got married, I think. So 1993 was when I got married. And I remember, I don't know if I saw it in the theater, but we ended up buying it. Cartoon VHS. And I actually watched that thing so many times. I know it's kind of embarrassing because I would have been 23 years old at the time, but I absolutely was amazed at the cinematography of the old Beauty and the Beast cartoon. Part of the reason, there's this one scene where the father figured out how to work this machine, like he was an inventor. And so it worked. And I remember her going, "You really did it." And the expression that they got on her face, to me, was a marvel in the area of animation. So I was just blown away. I would fast forward and watch her expression because I was just so amazed at the emotion that they got in that character for some reason. The villain in Beauty and the Beast was Gaston, and Gaston was the dirtiest, most disgusting, typical male chauvinist pig that I'd ever seen. He was handsome, he was robust, and that song that he sang where all of a sudden he's like, "I'm roughly the size of a barge." That, like, you had to love it. You had to love to hate him. That's the best villains, the ones that you kind of love to hate, right? So anyway, I couldn't stand Gaston. I couldn't stand what he did to the poor beast that I was absolutely, like, I was smitten by the beast in that show. But the fragrance I chose for him was Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. To me, that one is the truest, authentic kind of leather fragrance that I've smelt, where it's just kind of very masculine, very leathery. Gaston, although he was a rogue, although he was terrible, although he was conceited, he was handsome. He was built like a barge. He grossed me out completely, but he would have smelt manly, slightly sexy. I imagine like he definitely was a hunter. So to me, Ombre Leather by Tom Ford definitely would suit him. Smells a little bit like a fresh, brand new saddle. That's definitely what Gaston smelled like. So yeah, Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. Oh, now I'm thinking of other villains I could have chose. But anyway, one of the villains that I absolutely I was like, oh, was Agent Smith from The Matrix. Him, oh, like he was horrible. And there was the one scene, the reason why I wanted to choose him was there was this one scene where he's like, "You know what I hate about you humans the most? The stench of it all." Like, and he goes into the stench of it all. And it's such a creepy scene and he does it so well. But when he's talking about the stench of humans, as a result, I thought to myself, the best perfume for him, and being he was basically virtual and wasn't really existing anyway, would be Juliet Has a Gun, Not a Perfume, because that perfume doesn't really exist either. It's got kind of a pencil shaving-y type thing. I actually don't like that fragrance at all. What I find with that fragrance is it bothers my head. So it's too chemically for me, and it does something in my sinuses that really bothers me. I find that actually with all Juliet Has a Gun fragrances. I've never found one, like I've liked the smell of some of them, but they either make me feel sick to my stomach or they give me a headache. So it's one brand that I just don't vibe with. But as far as like a weird kind of fragrance that's there but not there, I would have to choose Juliet Has a Gun, Not a Perfume for Agent Smith. Next villain is Ursula from The Littlest Mermaid. Now, she was really quite fantastic. The way she slithered around, and she was another one that had a voice kind of like this, and even though she was in the ocean, I'm sure she was smoking cigarettes on the daily. And she'd go, "You poor unfortunate soul." I loved it. I loved it. Like, she was just creepy. And like the whole entire time when she's reeling in Ariel, I'm just thinking, no, don't do it. Like, seriously, they did such a fantastic job of that character. Now, I haven't actually seen the new Littlest Mermaid. I do want to see it. But I'm just thinking about the old cartoon version. I think I would have made a great Ursula. Like, the problem is, guys, I want to be the Ariel, and I want to be the Belle. I want to be the Snow White, but I'm pretty sure I'm the evil queen always. Like, I would get the evil queen part, like, just because listen to this voice and what I can do with it. Anyway, the fragrance that I chose for her, even though it's not aquatic at all, is Marc Jacobs Decadence. Now, part of it is because when I think of Ursula, she was purple. I'm pretty sure she was purple, and this has plum, but the plum is green. So again, it smells kind of good and kind of nasty all at once. So it's sexy, but kind of not at the same time. It's kind of gross, kind of amazing. I love it. Like, it's a very weird fragrance, very dark, very sophisticated, very unexpected. And for whatever reason, with that plum in there and the green and it not being quite right, it smelled perfect for Ursula. I have two more villains for you. The first one is a little unexpected for me, but I don't know why. I just had to go with it. And it was Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter was the creepiest of creepy. Like, "Hello, Clarice." Like, there was nothing creepier than hearing him just say, "Clarice." like, who can make Clarice sound so creepy? Like, Anthony Hopkins is a freaking genius. Like, the guy, I love his acting. I wished I had never seen Silence of the Lambs because it was the most evil, horrible show, and I've regretted it. I watched Silence of the Lambs probably about 29 years ago, and I have regretted it ever since. That said, "Hello, Clarice" is totally worth it for me because that was just so awesome. And then there's this other line where he's talking about eating someone's liver, and he says something like, "I ate his liver with flava beans." Like this, like, it was just crazy train. But he was the most perfect, horrendous villain ever. So what I chose for him, because he looked so greasy, and somehow a little bit sweaty. So I chose Oud Mineral by Tom Ford. So this has seaweed, it's got salt, it's got sea notes, ambergris, balsam, like all sorts of weird things like that. But there is this saltiness, but it smells like minerals. So to me, it smells like sweaty skin. Someone that's been sweating, not BO, but sweaty skin. So him sitting there in his little, I think he's wearing a white wife beater kind of tank top thing with his hair greased back going, "Hello, Clarice." I see that he's probably not showered in a long time. He's into this dank cell. And to me, Oud Mineral is perfect for that. Now, I'm not saying Oud Mineral stinks. It's kind of a sophisticated, interesting fragrance. And again, Hannibal Lecter, he was a very sophisticated mind. So this fragrance, it's kind of a little bit mysterious, a little bit stanky, a little bit sophisticated, a little bit je ne sais quoi. It totally suits Hannibal Lecter. So Oud Mineral, Tom Ford. Now, the last villain is not an actual villain. Well, it's a collective of villains, and it's Helena Bonham Carter. That woman terrifies me. It doesn't matter what she's in, it's terrifying. There's never a time. Helena Bonham Carter could be walking down the street, and I would probably walk to the other side out of sheer fear. Now, the crazy thing is the first time I was introduced to her, she was in this movie with Carrie Elwes, I think, and it was, I don't know, it was some movie. They both end up dead. They're royalty or something like that, but they end up falling in love. And it was such a romantic movie, and she played this sweet, romantic person, and then anything after that, she was like some sort of evil henchman in something. Doesn't matter what she plays it well. She's a phenomenal actress, but she's just plain terrifying. So there's like her in being the Queen of Hearts going,
"She killed my Jabba baby Wookie."
Like nothing she does is normal. When she wants to be creepy, she is creepy. And when she's creepy, when she's being the villain, she is wearing Tom Ford's Black Orchid. This fragrance is slowly growing on me, but nevertheless, it smells beautiful, but like an undead queen. Like, it is nasty, but I'm surprised. No, it's still gross. Every once in a while, I get a whiff of it, and I'm like, ooh, I kind of like that. And then I'd go in for another one, and I'm like, nope, not ready. But this one, it's got truffle in it. It's peppery. Lots of people love it and find it really sexy. I find it smells like something that's died. So it's really, really indolic to me. And it's perfect for her. She just always plays these dark characters. I know she's played other things, but even when she talks, like, I think she was in the King's Speech, and even her going, tick-tock, tick-tock, like, somehow everything she does terrifies me. Very similar to Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken, he's another one that terrifies me. Why? Why is just their being terrifying? But Christopher Walken, he's scary. I don't have a scent for him though. Anyway, those were my villains. I hope that you enjoyed. What about you? What is your favorite villain? What is the fragrance that your favorite villain would wear? Put it in the comments. I would love to know. And other than that, I hope you have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon.